What's up, gamers? Welcome to episode 31 of the Busted Buns Video Game Podcast. And today's going to be a really interesting podcast because I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready to go. I'm excited about this episode. We're gonna talk about the Spider-Man face transplant, Amazon Luna.
That's a good way to put it. Freaking face transplant. I love that.
Some of the pre-order controversy still going on with the PlayStation 5. And then we'll kind of get away from some of the news and some of the happenings in the gaming industry. And we're going to talk about mindless game breaks. Basically games where you don't have to use a lot of your brain and you can kind of just get away from those heavy and intense games. And then we're going to end on some retro gaming market saturation. I don't understand why everybody, or almost everybody, wants to do all this retro gaming stuff. I understand it, but there's just too many of you damn people out there. We're going to talk about that, but you know what?
We will.
Do whatever makes you happy. I really don't care that much, but anyways, this is the part where I usually throw it to Red, but I kind of know where Red's going to go with this, so I'm going to start out here myself, because
you're going to start off before
about the Spider-Man face transplant, and we've talked about before about how some of you gamers, you just get mad about the stupidest shit out there. But I gotta say, today, gamers, I stand with you because I kind of heard about this, but I'm getting upset. I'm just getting upset just talking about it, but I had heard about this, but until Red texted me, I had not seen this monstrosity of a face that Insomniac Games is putting in the Spider-Man remaster for the PlayStation 5. And this thing is fucking hideous, and I usually don't get upset about things like this, but Red, I just want to punch this, and there's gonna be some F-bombs, people. I usually try to watch, even though we cuss, I try to watch my cussing, but I'm fucking pissed. I don't know why, but I just want to punch this version of Peter Parker in the face. Like, I can't even buy this game because I'm going to break my TV if I buy this game. Like, this is hideous. And like, your explanation is bullshit. You got like 4 people that you're announcing it in this explanation. I don't even know who's playing what, but for some reason, you had to do some face transplant because of some actor changing role or getting recasted. But for some reason, in Star Wars, Princess Leia, who is fucking dead, we are able to actually put her in the fucking movies. But in a video game, you can't even put the same fucking face in it. And this Peter Parker just looks stupid. I mean, it is so far off. I don't know how you guys could miss this by so much. Like, is Mary Jane's gonna be cheating in this game? Because that's not the same dude that was in the 2018 game. Like, this guy cannot handle, he looks like a little teenager, like, you know, a little baby teenager that just hit puberty. Like, this guy can't handle the Black Cat. What the hell's gonna happen when a hammerhead comes up to this guy? Like, he just looks pitiful. I'm upset, and you want to sit there, Red, and I agree with you that usually gamers usually get worked up about stupid shit, but gamers that are upset about this issue, I stand with you today because this thing is hideous. I'm upset. I don't know how Insomniac Games miss it this much, and this is just, I'm worked up. I'm worked up, Red. As soon as I saw this, I go, I can't wait for this podcast today because this face, like I said, I just want to punch this face. So what's your opinions on it?
Well, I was just going to let you go for the full 45 minutes there. You've been rolling here for a second. Okay, before I get going, there are a couple of things I do agree with you with here. First and foremost, I do think the new face looks stupid. And that is not an insult to the new face model. I think his name is Ben Jordan. I am not insulting him. I just think they made him look too much like a traditional high school jock. He reminds me of Adam the Man DeMant from fucking Workaholics, for anyone out there who has seen that show.
Well, I didn't know if it was John Bubniak. I didn't know if it was Yuri Lowenthal, whatever his name is, Ben Jordan, and there was all,
I think that's the
Tom
new,
Holland.
the new
I didn't know who was who, man.
But so I do agree. I do not like the change. The fucking level that fans have taken it to, though, including you now, is so ridiculous. Because first and foremost, this is Insomniac's game. It is their property. Much like everyone who bitched about the special edition of Star Wars and all the shit that George Lucas changed, it's his creation. It's his product. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to do with it. I feel the same way about Insomniac. And like, yes, I think their explanation is a little flimsy. And just a little background, what they came out and said was to get the full impact of what they're going for with the next gen graphics, they needed to get a face model that more closely matched the guy they used for the facial motion capture. Now, that confused the fuck out of me for a second, first of all. I'm like, wait, so you have a guy do facial motion capture, and then you slap another face on top of him, and all of a sudden, we've got a fucking Nicolas Cage, John Travolta face-off situation going here. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, okay, so we need to find someone who was a little closer to the actual motion capture actor, which was the Yuri Lowenthal. And if I'm butchering these names, as always, we apologize. We're not experts. Yeah. But, so he was the original like motion capture guy. So like, okay, we need a face that more closely matches him to get the more expressive look with the next gen. That sounds a little flimsy to me. I can kind of believe it, but it sounds a little flimsy. And I got to say, when I saw the side-by-side screenshots, I'm with you. I prefer the old version. That is not my beef. My beef is these people who are fucking, as a vocal minority of gamers do, take the littlest slight or the
stand up gamers
and flip the fuck out for no reason. I mean, this isn't quite as severe as the people sending death threats to the fucking voice actor for the girl from The Last of Us.
That's a little ridiculous.
Part 2. That's a little ridiculous. But everyone who's like, this isn't my Peter Parker. This isn't my PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. I'm like, well, fucking good. It's a PlayStation 5 game now, bitch. Get over it. So I just think this was much ado about fucking absolutely nothing. Hey, if it makes it look better in terms of the expressions, the actual way the face looks, then more power to them. Take advantage of that fucking PlayStation 5 technology. And I'm actually going to bag on Nintendo. Instead of pulling a fucking Nintendo and just putting a Nintendo 64 game on the Switch and saying it's a fucking remaster.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today.
So, I mean, it's seeing people get worked up about it. When I first saw the side-by-side, I was like, why would they do this? Like, I don't like how much they make him look like a younger, because the whole idea was that he was a bit of a mentor to Miles Morales. So he's supposed to be a little older than Miles.
Yeah, definitely.
And this fucking guy does not look older than Miles Morales. But
like I said, teenager that just hit puberty is what he looks like.
But like I said, I think the backlash, and while not as severe as some gamer backlash we've seen and we've talked about on this show before, but it's still, calm the fuck down, everyone. To pull an Aaron Rodgers, relax. There's much more worse shit going on in the world right now than Insomniac deciding they want to change the face of their character. And yes, I know it's Marvel's character or Sony's or whoever the fuck owns the rights to it. And I'm also dropping F-bombs like crazy, and I apologize for that too.
I think I made you more upset because you weren't expecting my reaction, which is why I went first today.
So I think, hey, if it's worth it for Insomniac and they think that it can help them make a better, expressive character, then I'm all for it. I mean, even like the original motion capture guy, the Yuri Lowenthal, has come out and said, he's like, it's my fault. I'm sorry I had different cheekbones, or some tweet like that.
Well, why did he do it again? Was there a reason?
Well, he still did the facial capture, but I guess that actual Yuri Lowenthal guy's like in his 40s. So they can't really use his actual face. So they just did it for the motion capture and then put a different face model on top of that motion capture. I didn't know that until this whole controversy blew up. Because I was so confused too. I was like, wait, isn't it all just Yuri Lowenthal's face? I'm like, that was my thought. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, did they totally do like new voice cap or new facial capture, new motion capture? And they're like, no, we just slapped a different face on it. And that's why I sit here and laugh. I'm like, this is some fucking face-off shit. So, but it's another instance, I think, where gamers got a little blown up. And I get it. We all become attached to video game characters. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I love a lot of iconic video game characters, but man, everyone, take a deep breath, take a drink, chill out.
The thing was, I just saw it and it just made me mad. Like, I don't even know if I have a logical reason, because I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. Yeah. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that's my Peter. Well, I'm not even going to buy the game because I've already played it. But I'm not sitting there saying, oh, that's my Peter Parker and everything. All I know is that I saw this guy's face and I wanted to punch it. And I knew that was not a good thing for me. But I kind of said, you know what? A lot of times we were kind of more calm. We don't get worked up about this stuff. But I don't know. I saw it and this is not going from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 4. Like, if you're increasing the graphics that much, then I might understand a face looking different. But if you looked at the comparison, which I've said before, doing 4K over YouTube or the internet, it's not as good as you're going to see it on your 4K HDR TV. So the game will look better than it looks in that IGN comparison or whatever. But just like it was so far off and so different. To me, it almost feels like you're playing a different character. And for a remastered game, I know I went off, but I don't really care that much because, like I said, I'm not buying the game. But it's so far off to me. Like it does feel like you're playing a whole different character, and I just, they could come up with all the bullshit. Like there's some underlying reason for why this happened. Somebody didn't like something. Somebody ran into an issue or whatever it is.
You know what it was. They wanted him to look more like Tom fucking Holland. That's exactly
and that's fine. And that's fine. But then come out and say that. But this is something like do it in the next game. Like you don't need to do it in a remaster. So for me, I mean, I am worked up about it. I'm not going to lie. Now, I don't care as much as, like, I'm not going to make death threats or anything. Like, I don't care that much.
Oh, God, but no gamer ever should. That's
but, like, I mean, they just made it look so different. It's just like, why? Because the graphics aren't going to look that much different. They are going to look better on the PS5 versus the PS4, but they're not going to look that much different. So to make a change like this huge, it's just like, you should have known this was coming. It was going to come because it's just, I don't know, man. I was like, this is so bad that I'm not going to go easy. It looks like Mayor Osborn's son, to be honest with you. Like the first thing that I thought, because, let's be honest, he's not the best, in my opinion, he ain't the best looking guy, Mayor Osborn. And I saw this little, I just like, he looks exactly like his son, which now I feel bad because Mayor Osborn's son was in that, cryogenic chamber or had the issue. So I feel a little bad about saying that. But that's who it looks like. That's exactly who it looks like. But, I guess we'll kind of move on. I had to go first because I knew I had a rant. I knew you weren't expecting me to have a rant about it.
No. I think we both had a pretty good rant lined up there. Just two very different sides.
I made you more upset. But anyways,
you got me going.
Speaking of adding or changing something that might get mixed feelings, Amazon recently came out with their new cloud gaming service called Amazon Luna, which I was really pissed off about first because I thought the character from Mario was Luna. And then I did some research today and found out it was actually Luma. So I thought they were still in a Nintendo character. I was like, this is some bullshit right here. I don't know how they're getting away with this, but I'll go ahead. I'll throw it to you. What's your overall opinions of the Amazon Luna and the whole announcement?
Well, my first reaction, I'd kind of even forgot that it was something that they'd announced. I honestly, until I saw like your kind of comments in your notes here, I'm like, what the fuck is Amazon? And like, oh, I guess they are kind of getting into the streaming service. But my first impression is, oh, God, it's going to be Google Stadia 2.0. Yeah. I mean, it's just, because we've said companies like Microsoft, companies like Google, and companies like Amazon have the infrastructure, I feel like, to do this right. And Google just face planted so poorly. And I know I'm ragging on Stadia and we're supposed to be talking about Luna, but it's just,
you're always allowed to rag on Stadia. I don't care if we're talking about like a Super Mario World game, Super Mario World. You can rag on Google Stadia just out of nowhere and it'd be okay.
I will find a reason to, but just to me, it just that left such a bad initial taste to streaming. And I know, guys, one of the NVIDIA things may have been before, whatever. But it's just now I see one and I just roll my eyes. Like xCloud, I have a little more faith because they're building it into the Xbox. They're building it into Game Pass.
Microsoft makes video games and consoles.
Right, and they're bringing it along very slowly. Like it was in like a beta phase forever, just so people could try it for free. You just had to apply for an invitation. So now I see another company. Granted, Amazon also has a massive online. You got Amazon Web Services. They've got the servers. They've got the infrastructure to do it. I just can't imagine that it's any worse than Stadia. No. But I've been surprised before. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Like it's just it's coming to the Fire TV, it's coming to PCs, it's coming to Apple. Right now it's not coming to Android, but it will be down the line. It's got its own controller, just like Stadia, just like everything else. So it's one of those where I'm like, okay, another competitor is not a bad thing. I think competition. We talked about this like with the exclusives for the consoles. I think the competition is a good thing. It's another service. And if it works, then great. But what really kind of caught my eye on it is this whole, they're talking about doing game channels that you subscribe to. They're going to have their own Luna Plus, which is like the base. I think it's $5.99 while they're in the beta. Just the base channel. And it has, it's got a decent lineup of games. It has Control, some games like that. So some big third-party games. And then they're going to have, it sounds like, starting with Ubisoft, they're going to have different channels for like different, I'm not sure if it's going to be developers. I think obviously with Ubisoft, it's obviously a developer, but then they even mentioned something like different genres would have their own channels. So that's what really stood out to me. What did you think of that particular approach they're taking? It seems a lot different from Stadia or from xCloud. What do you think of this channels you subscribe to?
I mean, I guess I would really have to see it in play. Like, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so you have this channel, you subscribe or whatever, and to me, like, why do you need a channel? Like, you just put the games on the platform and you play them. So, like, I don't understand, like, exactly, okay, this Ubisoft channel, is it just going to have, I'm thinking of Assassin's Creed is Ubisoft, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And Far Cry.
I'm trying to get my franchises wrong.
Far Cry is probably their other really big one. So, but yeah, Assassin's Creed and Far Cry.
Okay. First of all, like, you might read more, but like, what exactly is this? Like, is it just going to be the games on this separate channel, and do you have to pay more for that?
Well, if it's anything like Amazon Prime, and I know I think you've got Prime, but if you actually watch the shows, like you can get you pay your basic 10-15 bucks a month, but you can get like the HBO channel for a premium. You can get Stars or Showtime for a premium. So I assume it's going to be like that. Like I said, the basic Luna Plus will be the $6 a month or whatever, and then I'm guessing each channel on top of that has its own price unless the publishers.
So here we go again with all the damn description or subscriptions. Okay, first of all, we got Google Stadia and we got Amazon Luna. Okay, and then so you guys subscribe not to both of those, but let's just say it's getting out of control already. And then you get Amazon Luna, and then you guys subscribe to this one to play this game, this one to play this game. All of a sudden you're getting five, all these little ticks and tags, which we're already doing that shit for video subscriptions. Like, I'm getting tired. Peacock, I'm looking at you. You put a bunch of Premier League games on the very first week. I said, damn, I got to buy this. So I go out and I buy it. Good job. You got my money, but I'm so sick of these little $5 hits here and there because everybody's taking their own properties. I understand, but these like platforms like Netflix and like, Hulu, they're losing everything. And so but they don't go down price. They stay at the exact same price. And then all these other people like Peacock, ABC, I don't know who all has one yet, but it is going to happen.
CBS All Access.
Yeah, where they're going to take all their properties. They're going to make you pay, usually around $5, maybe 10 to watch their shows on their platforms. And so this is exactly, and this is where this whole cloud gaming, like, I understand that, yes, it is the future, but how many people are going to get involved, which is my first problem. Like, okay, Xbox getting involved, and Microsoft. I understand. PlayStation with PlayStation Now. I understand. They make video games and they make consoles. So for them to get into this cloud gaming space makes sense. But then here comes everybody else wanting a piece of the pie. Google, Amazon, and they all got their own controllers, and their controllers are shit. The Amazon Luna, like, that's so damn blank. Like, that's just a boring controller. There's a little bit purple in it, which I'm not a big purple fan, but I thought, oh, cool. At least they're going with a little bit different color.
At least it stands out. Yeah,
at least it stands out, but that controller is just blah. There's really nothing to it. It has the offset joysticks for red over there.
Hell yeah, so it's already better than the DualShock in my book.
I don't mind. I mean, I do like offset joysticks, but I don't mind the DualShock controllers that much. The PlayStation controllers is what I'm saying. If you don't know, but I'm just, it's getting out of control with, then we're going, okay, here's what's going to happen. Ubisoft's going to be on Amazon, and then you're going to have, what's another game studio? Sucker Punch. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. They'll be on Google. Well, nobody's going to be on Google Stadia. Let's just be honest. But they're going to be on another one. So you're going to have to pay for Google Stadia. You're going to have to pay for xCloud. You're going to have to pay for Amazon. And you have to get Ubisoft over here. You're going to get Sucker Punch over here. You're going to get the Rockstar over here. And it's a model that, it's going to work out eventually, but it's not going to work out in the beginning because too many people want to get in on this. They understand that the gaming industry is billions of dollars, and it's not going to go well first. It's just not, and it's probably going to go bad for a long time, I think, because of what I'm saying. But I don't know. Go ahead, man.
I will say, like, I'm glad you brought up the point of, like, okay, if I want to play this game, I've got to have this service. If I want to play this game, I've got to have this service. Because you're exactly right. We've seen that happen with television. If you want to watch, you've got Amazon Prime exclusives, you've got Netflix original content, you've got Hulu original content, and HBO Max or whatever the hell it's called now. Like, they all have their own content, or their own, like, they're each aligned to a streaming service. And so far, and I know we're very early in the video game streaming process, that hasn't happened with third-party games yet. It seems like, games like Control, stuff like that, they want to be on as many, and I keep saying Control because that's one of the big ones that Luna was showing off in everything I read. But it seems to be available in several places, which is good. Like that's
until somebody pays them enough money to be on one platform.
That's the biggest thing. It's like when HBO bought the rights for fucking Seinfeld or whatever it was, whoever or
Hulu.
Friends, whichever.
Hulu was HBO.
Yeah. And then so it's like I'm worried that as these different streaming services mature and get a little further along, they're going to realize, okay, we have a stable thing, it works. Now let's start getting that content to get the subscribers. And that's when they're going to start spending big money. We already see it with Sony and with Microsoft buying up developers to have exclusives on their consoles. I'm with you.
Yeah, but that makes sense though,
Oh, I agree. How long until the streaming services start paying Ubisoft or Bethesda? Well, I know Bethesda's now in bed with Microsoft, but like I said, Rockstar, one of these huge companies. What happens when Amazon says, here's $5 billion or whatever?
Yeah.
You're only going to be on Luna. You're not going to be on xCloud. You're not going to be on PlayStation Now. You're not going to be on Stadia. Like at some point, it's just, I do think that's going to happen. And because we saw it happen with video streaming where these big streaming companies started throwing the money around and saying, okay, I want you to be exclusive to Netflix. I want you to be exclusive to Hulu, whatever. So I do think it's only
NBC came back and said we want our own properties back.
Right,
after that,
exactly. And then like CBS started CBS All Access for their own shit. So my one good thought to all this is I don't think that many companies can sustain a video game streaming service. Like I feel like video streaming, just about every media company can kind of do it. Like regular video streaming.
Yeah.
Streaming video games is, I feel like it seems like a much more difficult.
Yeah. And we already have 4 of them.
Right. But I don't think there's that many more companies that could pull it off. Like Google has the server infrastructure and the online infrastructure. Amazon, Microsoft, Sony. I know NVIDIA kind of tried it and that, then they fucked up all their agreements with
but NVIDIA is a little bit different because they are PC actually. I think they might have like some parts in like consoles or whatever. I'm not really sure, but
they're more of a hardware developer in general as opposed to the software side of things. So I do think eventually there's just not going to be that many, at least in America. I mean, maybe worldwide, companies like Tencent, it's the huge gaming company over in China, stuff like that could probably pull something off. But like, I do think eventually there's just not going to be that many companies that have the server and web infrastructure to do this. So I think
as people figure it out, it's going to get cheaper to get into the market. Though,
that is the flip side. That is the flip side. So Luna, like I said, it's a wait and see. Just like all this streaming tech, it very much is a wait and see for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more excited about that than I am Google Stadia, though.
Well, that's a pretty fucking low bar, first of all.
Yeah, true.
But it just, to me, I'm just like, if it works, great. I'm happy, and if they price these like individual channels, let's say they're $3 a pop or whatever. Once you get past the initial $6 subscription, whatever you price it at, and you can kind of pick and choose a little bit. I like that concept. It's better than Stadia's where you actually have to pay for the fucking full game. Yeah. That was just the dumbest idea. Xbox, in my opinion, has the best solution where it's all wrapped up in Game Pass. Like that is amazing. So, and that's not just me being an Xbox fanboy, but in my opinion, that's their like big selling point. So I'm really curious to see if it works out. It all does come down to A, does it work? And B, how's the pricing?
Yeah, and here's my problem with it. They have this, they say they have this multi-antenna that allows for uninterrupted Wi-Fi for lower latency, which is basically giving you the ability to move from a screen to a screen. That shit ain't gonna work, man. That's a problem right there waiting to happen. I'm only playing my PC, then all of a sudden it's gonna switch to my iPad, then my iPhone. That is not going to work smoothly. That's gonna crash and burn. We all know that. But anyways, while Amazon's announcement of the cloud gaming coming into the cloud gaming market might be exciting for some gamers, we know one thing that's not exciting for any gamers, or at least
watch out, GameStop, we're coming for you.
GameStop, here we come. But the pre-order controversy for the PS5 continues. Amazon finds itself in the middle, but let's just go ahead and get into this. Let's go ahead, start ripping GameStop. Red, what's your whole opinions on just how this PS5 pre-order controversy just keeps on going?
It's not very often we get a podcast these days where we get to bash on GameStop and on a streaming service, but we are in luck today. We've already bashed on Amazon, and don't worry, Amazon, you're not off the hook yet. We're going to get you again. But now we finally
Did you mean Google Stadia, or are we also bashing on Google Stadia and now Amazon?
All of the above. Streaming services in general, not named xCloud. Sorry, there's my fanboy showing again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But no, so like you mentioned, there's a lot of these PlayStation 5 controversies coming up. And I knew things were a little bit of a mess when the pre-orders first went live, just because that's a lot of demand. Server, the storefronts, things like that aren't necessarily ready to handle all getting slammed at the same time. Like GameStop was doing like online queues. PlayStation was telling some people it was available, but not others. So the whole thing was a little bit of a shit show from the get-go, there you go.
Yep.
But now it sounds like there's still continuing issues. And I honestly, because I'm not doing the pre-order thing, I hadn't read too much into some of these other issues just because I'm like, I'm taking my chances on release day. So when you kind of brought up a couple of these issues, I'm like, holy shit, there's some serious issues going on. So I'm actually going to kind of kick it back to you and, kind of take us through kind of what's happening a little bit. And then we'll get to bashing.
Yeah, well, we've already talked about this. I think in the last episode or one of the later episodes, we have talked about this. Yeah. And the only reason that I put on the outline was because of GameStop, man. I saw GameStop. I go, yep, outline. We're putting it on there. But
they're such an easy target. I love it.
We already know what's going on. But then, like I said, GameStop appeared. I was like, y'all know us. We like to bash on GameStop. We like to bash on Stadia. And here goes GameStop again. Their Ireland company or branches, whatever you want to call it. Like, they're expecting, like, they're telling customers who pre-ordered not to expect their console until 2021. Jeez. Now, this is something that only GameStop could pull off, man. Like, if you're not going to get it, like, day one or day two, like Amazon, or maybe even a week later, or a couple weeks later, okay, I'm upset, but I understand. But you're saying
fucking months?
Yeah, GameStop Ireland saying that you're not going to get the consoles until 2021. That's almost 2 months later. And you would think, this is unfathomable. How does something like this happen? And the answer is not always, usually GameStop. That's the answer for you.
They are a good, safe answer.
Yeah, but and then also, we got the whole, like I said, the whole Amazon thing saying they're not going to be there, like, release day. And, for me and you, I don't think that's a big deal because as we know, and you all gamers that are younger, you will experience this. As you get older and older, you get busier and busier doing what I don't really know. I still can't figure it out. I don't have really any more shit. Well, I got kids now, but other than that, like you don't have that much more to do than when you were younger. But for some reason, you're just busier and life just goes faster. So for us not getting a console for one or two things, like 1 or 2 days, we got shit to do. We're going to be okay.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah,
but that's not the way for a lot of gamers. A lot of gamers do want day one. I do understand because I still wanted day one. I'm just like not going to get as upset as some of you, which I said I understand this one. I do understand how you get upset about this. So I'm okay with that.
The damn thing.
it just sucks. And then like you knew this was going to happen. It happens with every single console. That's why the communication needs to be better. The systems need to be better. You need to know, hey, this certain store, GameStop, is getting this many systems. Right. That's how many you put up for pre-order. Like, this shit isn't that hard. It's 2020.
So is that what happened? Did they offer too many pre-orders and they don't have the stock to fill them? Or was it all just
That's what I would guess. Like, if you're saying you're not going to get them until 2021, like, you took more pre-orders than you have. Because if you, like, delivery doesn't take 2 months, No, unless you're like ordering a swing set for your kids or something like that. Actually, that was quick. It wasn't actually a swing set. I had an issue lately where something just took. It was the exercise bike. The exercise bike took like a month to get here. I was like, 2020, that doesn't make any sense. But anyways. A console should not take 2 months to get there. So if it's taking you 2 months, you took a pre-order for a console that you technically, well, physically, you're not going to have in your hands because it's not out yet. But for a console that you did not have, so it's just continuing on. GameStop.
It's like Seinfeld. You know how to take the reservation. You don't know how to hold the reservation.
And holding is the most important part of taking the reservation.
So no, that's the logical explanation in my mind is that they took too many reservations. Now I'm laughing at Seinfeld. Yeah, Too many pre-orders that they weren't prepared to handle, and that could have been a simple computer error where that fucked up, or it's a lot of things can go into that. I get that, but it just shows you the continued incompetence of GameStop in general. Now the Amazon situation surprises me a little bit. I know there are a lot of instances where people pre-order a game and maybe it shows up the next day. It shows up one day after release date.
Or a day fucking early.
Or I mean, the day early, like I got with Mario 3D All-Stars. That was a nice surprise. But, for me, like, I got The Last of Us Part 2 a day late. And, but I was busy with other shit. I didn't get to touch it. Anyway, I'm still playing it, so I'm not too complaining about it.
This is why you guys should go all digital. You don't have to worry about these issues.
Hey, it makes it great when the girlfriend's giving you a gift, okay? That's all I'll say.
That's true.
But no, it's just, so the Amazon one day thing doesn't bother me quite as much. Now, if you're a person who, makes money off reviewing these things, off testing them out, whether it's, actually through one of the like big websites, or it's, it's your blog, it's your YouTube channel, it's your Twitch stream, whatever, and you're relying on that, and you don't get that product in your hand day one, then that I can see where people could get genuinely pissed about that. Because that's affecting your business. That's affecting your income stream if you're last to show something off. And it's just like, hey, it's just like the news. It's always the first to the story. Not who's the most accurate. It's the first one who gets the story.
Well, if YouTube is your business model, get another business model. That's my advice.
Well, we also put up one video every 6 months.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's like you're talking about right now. It's too stressful to be like your income to be through YouTube, and there's like a lot of other things. Your taxes are higher. You got to pay for your health insurance. Your employer is not paying part of your taxes, so there's a lot of other things behind the scenes. But I mean, it's exactly right. I mean, if you are one day late, it hits these YouTubers like, even though I say, get a different day job, like this is what they do, and you got to respect that is how they make their money. So, I mean, you can sit here and say, oh, here's some advice, do something different, but at the same time, you also do have to respect them because that is their income. That's how they pay for things, whether it's family, kids, insurance, or just, whatever, games.
But I do understand from Amazon's standpoint, though, you can't get every single thing like delivered to every single part of the country.
Amazon can.
Well, they try. They try, but especially their
now GameStop. We know GameStop can't do that shit.
Well, GameStop apparently can't get it to you until 2021. So.
No. Well, yeah, that's true.
Sorry, Ireland, but no. So to me, it cracks me up. I do get it that from Amazon, it is tough, especially if you live in a more rural area where you don't have a distribution center close by. I mean, we're lucky in our city that we have a distribution center. I mean, we get shit pretty quick. Yeah. Sometimes a day in advance, which is awesome. But but so I do understand kind of on Amazon's side, but at least they're saying you'll get it the next day. They're not saying you're not getting it for fucking 2 months. Like that just blows my mind. Well, it would blow my mind. Then you say the magic word GameStop and it no longer blows my mind. It's just they are just the devil for everything.
Like I said, I know we did talk about this recently, but then GameStop came up. I had to put it on the Allen. But anyways,
of course.
Sometimes you all see this right now. Sometimes us gamers, we just need a break from all the crap. We're just mentally exhausted. We're mentally exhausted on this podcast. Like, we have been worked up, folks, and we were not planning. Well, I was planning on getting worked up at the beginning, but I was not planning on it continuing all the way through the podcast. It's been very negative. So let's step back a little bit and let's do something like, let's talk about mindless video games. And these are basically just video games where either you're stressed out, you're mentally exhausted. They don't take a lot of concentration. They don't take a lot of brain power. You just turn them on. They're very simple and you just play them. And I really think it takes gaming back to just being fun. So Red, I kind of want to throw it to you right here. What are some of those mindless games that you like?
Well, to me, it's like every now and then you need a palate cleanser. You need something like maybe you've mentioned like either you're stressed out, whatever, or maybe you've been playing a game that is like very deep or intense. You've got your games like The Last of Us, things like that, where it's very like they're emotional games and they're stressful games to play. And every now and then you need that palate cleanser just to be like, whew, I need something I can shut my brain off and just go. And what made me really think of this is that you had mentioned something about you liked having Mario Sunshine in this particular instance as like a second game you're playing while you're playing other games, because it kind of gives you, even though I'm not saying you can just shut your brain off for like these 3D Mario games, because there's still some challenge to it, but it's you can or
I got something to say on that, but go ahead.
But it lets you kind of take a refresh. And for me, and this is kind of weird because it's actually a puzzle game that makes you think, like I go back to Toad's Treasure Tracker quite a bit because I haven't beaten every chapter yet. I've gotten through most of them, but I haven't beaten all of them. So every now and then, if I just want something casual, something where I can just, you still got to think a little bit, but you're not like running from enemies or stealthily sneaking through the place. You're just trying to get from point A to point B, collect a few diamonds along the way, boom. Toad's Treasure Tracker is one that I go to a lot. And before I beat it for the damn second time, Mario Odyssey was one that I loved picking up and being like, because there's 880 unique moons in that game. Yep. You could pick that game up, play for just a few minutes, grab a moon or two, see it, maybe unlock a new world, whatever, and then just put it back down. And you're totally fine. Like I love having Mario games in general, especially the 3D ones. Yeah. Where you can just pick it up, grab a couple stars, grab a couple power moons, depending on the game you're playing, and then you're good. You're good. So I know it seems like I've been harping on like Nintendo being the one that really gives us some of those, relax, palate cleanser type games, but they're great at it. They're great at the small doses. Yeah. So for me, whenever I need just to calm down for a few minutes, get that, like you said, refresh my brain a little bit, I reach for something like that where you're trying to collect stars, you're trying to beat a chapter. What about you, though?
Well, first of all, Treasure Tracker is a game where you do have to use your brain, but I do understand what you're trying to say right there. And this kind of goes back to our whole complaint about, Nintendo not releasing enough games on the Switch. Like Treasure Tracker was a remake or a remaster deluxe, whatever you want to call it. Like they've had, we got Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and I'm somewhat happy. We'll talk about this. But Treasure Tracker, we can get Treasure Tracker 2, damn it, Nintendo. And Red is right. While you do use your brain, it is somewhat, you got to use your brain, but it is a mindless game. I don't know exactly how you got to play it to understand what I'm trying to say right there.
It's just relaxing.
It's a fun and relaxing game. So Nintendo, give us Treasure Tracker 2 because I need more mindless games. Because like Red said, we are basically talking Nintendo here. Your Mario games, your 3D Mario games, they're just great to go into. Grab a star, grab a shine, grab a power moon. Love that. And also, I'm going to go to racing games for a quick second. Racing games, they're great for that. Your Forza, your Gran Turismos. I don't really like the arcade racing games so much because they're not, real. The cars handle not how they're supposed to handle. So I'm more of a real racing simulator kind of guy. Like I said, your Forzas, your Gran Turismo. So those are also great. But getting back to Mario now, those 3D worlds, or the 3D games, like I said, you can go in and just grab something really quickly, here or there. Go open up a new land and really kind of extending on that. I think 3D platformers as a whole are great at this.
Yeah, they are.
Because 3D platformers, for the most part, aren't that difficult, except for Sunshine. I don't know what it is with fucking Sunshine, man. Mario games, they're usually challenging, but I am struggling with Sunshine. So I hope everybody else out there, the platforming is, just ridiculous. It's nerve-wracking, but it's exciting, it's rewarding, but I am struggling with the difficulty. This is the hardest Mario game that I've ever played. So I don't know how much Sunshine is fits into this category of mindless, fun, relaxing games because I'm stressing the fuck out playing Super Mario Sunshine.
But it's still that same thought where you just go in, you grab a couple things, and you get back out. I'm glad you mentioned racing games because those are great for it. You just go in a circle. Or you can spend a little time, like you said, on the more realistic ones, in your garage, just trying to tweak things a little bit to, maybe
you do more than go in circles, though, Red. You go around tracks that are all curvy and stuff. Don't be bashing on my Forza and my Gran Turismos, man.
I'm not, but you get what I mean. But, so, and this is a kind of funny one that I think of because it is a game that can be a little intense, but I treat, the Call of Duty games, not online because fuck online gaming at this age in my life, but the campaigns, they kind of get bagged on quite a bit because they're the equivalent of the summer blockbuster. Lots of explosions, lots of loud noises, not a lot of substance in general. Just, get from point A to point B, shoot as many people as you can. Very cinematic. To me, I'm actually a fan every now and then, if I want something kind of mindless, of just firing up a Call of Duty, one of the single player campaigns. And it is intense from the standpoint that you're in firefights, you're trying to snipe, or you're trying to do whatever. But at the same time, like I said, it is just like going to the movie theater and watching a summer blockbuster. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to think too hard about it. Point, shoot, run. That's basically all there is to the Call of Duty games. And that, it works. They're one of the most successful franchises in history. And, every now and then, just firing up one of their little 6 to 8 hour single player campaigns is a great way to break up you put 100 hours into, an Assassin's Creed game, you put 200 hours into a Witcher game, whatever. Just getting that little 6 to 8 hour break, even though it is a more intense game, I still look at that as almost a bit of a palate cleanser. Like I said, just like a summer blockbuster would be. But, we talk a lot about mindless games and like difficulty and things like that. And you mentioned this, like back in the day, games were not simple. They were very tough. Especially these 2D platformers, man, they were a fucking struggle.
And they're still hard today.
They still are. And that's kind of what we wanted to get at, It seems like this whole, and I know we've touched on retro gaming in prior episodes, back earlier in our history, but it seems like retro gaming is still really, really popular, whether it's people remaking old games or just making new games in the same style as the old games. But what are your kind of thoughts on this whole retro gaming craze? Is it something that you get into, or is it just something you kind of shake your head and say, what the hell is going on? So
I think it's just the market's oversaturated. And if you're a content creator or thinking about being a content creator, do not get into retro gaming, because everybody out there is doing retro gaming. There's no niche there. The niche is full, but I don't know. And the reason I kind of like came across this is because on Twitter, I just see a lot of people talk to some people, and, I see these profiles and everything. And a lot of it's just whether their tweets be retro gaming or their profile be retro gaming. There's just a lot of gaming that is retro gaming. And for me, it's something that, sorry, Red, take over for a second.
Take a drink of your beer there and take a second. No, I look at, and I think we are in an age that is very ripe for retro gaming, because you got to think, so many people got into gaming in the early to mid 80s with the Atari, the regular NES. And those people are now us. We're now in our 30s and enjoying, we still think back very fondly on those old games. So I think there's definitely a market there because now we're the people with disposable income.
Yeah.
We're the people that are like going out and buying these games, or in some people's cases, trying to get their kids into it now. And we want them to experience what gaming was like back when we had to deal with it, not when you could just fire up fucking Fortnite on your damn iPhone. Well, not that you can do that right now because of that whole legal battle going on. That's a whole different story. But so I think the market is very ripe for it, just because of the age that we, as people who grew up in the 80s as gamers, we're now the ones spending the money. So now that hopefully you've recovered from whatever your COVID or whatever
something in my throat there,
there,
so I had to throw it to you. But thanks for coming in. But for me, I just wonder, is it kind of like a fad? It seems like it's kind of the cool thing to do, and that's what bothers me about it. Okay, if you're really in the retro gaming and everything, and my first question is, are these retro gamers new gamers, or are they only strictly retro gaming? And I understand, there's a nostalgia element to it. Going back and playing past games, that's really fun. That's really cool. But just to me, I don't know. Sometimes I'm concerned, are you just doing it because everybody else is doing it? Or not to call, gamers or retro gamers fake, but, are you just kind of fitting in with the crowd? Like I said, are you trying to be cool and stuff? And there's just so much of it out there where, there's so much new gaming that is good. That is a lot of fun to play.
There is.
That I'm trying to figure out why everybody's into retro gaming. And these new indie titles, you could kind of say, the art styles are like retro gaming, but they're not retro gaming. They're different. They're more advanced than games were back in the day.
A little more user-friendly these days.
Well, I don't know.
Usually.
Well, maybe user-friendly, but they're still difficult. But
looking at you,
I don't want to bash anybody here or anything like that, but I'm just saying, sometimes I wonder if it's just the cool thing, the fad, and I don't know, man. Well, I just had an opinion on it. I just think the market's saturated.
Yeah.
I kind of think too many people talk about it. Too many content creators try to do it. And my question at the end of the day is are you actually into retro gaming? Do you care about those 80s and 90s games? Or are you just doing it to try to be cool? And that's the part that bothers me.
And I think a lot of it is following the fad. I mean, you see that with streaming. Whenever the next big game comes up on Twitch, people jump to it. If let's say one of the most popular streamers in the world, when using Ninja as an example, jumped from Twitch to Mixer or whatever the hell he jumped to, people follow that. And I get that because, and now that people are like, oh, retro is starting to get popular, or they're starting to, be successful again, we got to follow that. We got to get on that fad. It's like all the fucking battle royale games that came out as soon as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and then Fortnite became popular, everyone and their fucking mother had a battle royale game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's one of those where it's like, part of it is definitely people following the fad. I do think part of it is people, like I said, being our age who remember when that's all games were.
Yeah.
And it's fun to go back and experience it. So I'm curious to see how long it holds up though. I'm absolutely with you. But
if you're like 20 and you say you're a retro gamer and you're playing all indie games,
yourself.
like, no, that's not retro gaming, man.
But as usual, we've actually, not only have we run out of time, we've gone over by a minute. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here. All the links for the stuff we're going to talk about will be in the description at the bottom of the podcast. You can support us on Patreon or PayPal. Patreon's kind of a subscription type thing, whereas PayPal is a one-time. Obviously, if you can't support us financially, and we totally understand that, difficult times, totally get it. Feel free to definitely leave a review. Leave us a 5-star rating. We try to do a great job. If you think we suck, just lie about it and give us 5 stars anyway. It doesn't take any skin off your back. We think we do a pretty fucking good job. So we also have 2 websites out there. We have Two Guys Playing Zelda and .com and tgpzgaming.com. Great gaming merchandise. Lots and lots of fun, cool gaming merchandise. We're trying to get it and keep it updated as we go along with all kinds of new merch. I know, Hick, you've been working hard on that. Now, they are affiliate websites, so we may earn a little bit of commission from that. But how about you tell them about where we are on social media and YouTube?
Okay, first of all, Red, we did not go over because we determined the time that we want the podcast to be.
That's
so
true.
We did not go over. Now, here's the thing. We got paid for it if we go over a certain period of time. So it's more like, no, we don't we didn't go over, but we're just going to have to pay if we do go over. But anyways, we're on YouTube, Two Guys Playing Zelda, our main YouTube channel, how we started, over 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
If you love Zelda, rankings, opinions, theories, whatever, walkthroughs, whatever, Let's Plays, go check that out. We also have one for TGPC Gaming. Mainly just post our podcast there. We got Discord, talk gaming, we talk beer, we talk sports, shows, whatever. A lot of fun. Definitely go check that out. We always tell people, we tell people now, if you want to talk to us, all the time, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Discord. That's where we're at the most. And
Discord's a great place.
Social media,
Discord's
Twitter,
a ton of fun.
you can also find us on Twitter, and you can also find us on Instagram. But I'm pretty excited because me and Red have been talking behind the scenes. Red's about to finish The Last of Us Part 2. So, Red,
finally,
I say next week, let's start. We'll do each Last of Us, we'll do an episode 4. So next week, or not next week because, the schedules change sometimes. Next episode, I cannot promise next week, but next episode, let's talk The Last of Us Part 1, and then the episode after that, we'll do Part 2. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I know we were a little bit fired up. Which obviously, at the end, I started to lose my voice just a tad bit, but always a good time to talk with you all. Just talk gaming. Anyways, have a great, I don't know how to even end here. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next time.